Mr. Gerald Williams is going to talk to you all about how dreams don't always match your work ethic.
Before I get started, give the other speakers a hand. I think they've done an awesome job. I feel very inspired by a lot of things that was said. I start my speech with, my mom used to tell me this all the time. She used to say, Gerald, baby, you can be whatever you want to be. And through the challenges of life, I quickly figured out that you can really only be what you're willing to work for. You can really only be what you're willing to make sacrifices for. You can really only be what you're willing to overcome adversity for. That's what you can really be. And that's the message that I bring to my students every day. And so I challenge you tonight with 3 things to take away. Teach your kids or your students to have a dream. But only don't teach them just to have a dream. Teach them how to overcome adversity, because adversity is going to come. But only don't teach them that. Teach them to believe in themselves. And that's another message that I bring to my kids, because we teach college and career readiness. We're trying to get our kids ready for life, and they have to create a 4-year plan starting in the 8th grade. What classes do you need to take in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th to become this dream you say you want to be? And before we get started, I always ask these 2 questions. What is your dream? And does your work ethic match it? Because a lot of them will say, Mr. Williams, I want to be an engineer. I want to be an attorney. I want to be a lawyer. And then I say, show me your work ethic. Show me, do you put the work in enough to make this thing happen? Because if you don't put the work in, it won't happen. And so the ones that struggle with work ethic, I tell them this story. I say, I remember when my wife got pregnant with our first kid. I used to rub her stomach and say, babe, I just want to hear how she sounds. I just want to hear what she's going to be like. I just want to help her with her dream. And I tell them, I say, your mom used to do the very same thing. She used to have positive dreams for you. This is going to be the new attorney. This is going to be the next engineer. This is going to be the next doctor. She never rubbed her stomach and said, ooh, you're going to be that bad kid. Yeah, you're going to be that one I got to go to the school all the time. You're going to be so bad. I said, she never would say that about you. And so I asked you this morning, are you bringing dreams back home, or are you bringing nightmares? Because before you had a dream for yourself, somebody else had a dream for you. And I try to get them to understand this is the step 1 to doing what you say you want to do. And so after a couple of months pass, we're working on our 4-year plans. We're putting the classes in so that they can get their high school plans together to go to the 9th grade. And a young lady says, Mr. Williams, I'm ready. I'm ready to do my 4-year plan. And I go back there and I talk to her and I say, so what do you want to be? She says, I want to be an FBI agent. She said, but Mr. Williams, I remember a couple of months ago, you were saying that your mom had dreams for you. She said, Mr. Williams, you don't know this because I don't tell this to everybody, but I'm a foster kid. You see, I've never met my mom, Mr. Williams, but the other day I got a chance to find her. I found her phone number, Mr. Williams, and I called her up, and I wanted to just ask Mom, how did this happen? How did me and my brother end up in foster care? But before I could have any words come out of my mouth, Mr. Williams, she said to me, how did you find me? How did you find my number? See, I didn't want you and your brother then, and I don't want you now. Mr. Williams, who has dreams for me? Who should I work so hard for, Mr. Williams? Because she don't love me. And so that brings to my point number 2. I say, listen, adversity is going to come. I said, there's going to be some times in your life that you're going to drive home after you get this job and you're going to sit in the car and wonder, why did this have to happen? I say, but what you need to be the mom for the little girl that you may have, that you never had in your life. You be the mom for the little boy that you may have, that you never had in your life. And I say, life is kind of like a deck of cards. I say, it's kind of like the game of spades. I know you don't know the game of spades, but I say, people deal you a hand and you look in your hand and you may say, I can't work with this. I can't do anything with this. I said, but in the game of spades, you got a partner. I say in the game of spades, it's almost like life. I'm your partner. These teachers here on this campus, they are your partners. We have dreams for you. So what I need you to do is not quit on yourself. Continue to move forward. And when adversity comes, I say it's okay to cry. I tell my kids all the time, I say, listen, if you start crying, go in the bathroom, snot it out, yell it out, get it all out. But here's the thing, do not quit. Get right back up and keep moving forward so you can become the best you that you need to be. I had another kid that talked to me about hard. He said, Mr. Will, I want to be an engineer. I said, okay, what's your math grade look like? Oh, man, I quit math. I don't do math, Mr. William. It's too hard, Mr. William. I say, listen, you don't quit something because it's hard. I say, what it is when hard shows up in your life, it's life telling you, how bad do you really want this engineering degree? How bad do you want it? So you're telling me you're going to let a little math class keep you from getting this engineering degree? I said, let me tell you a quick little story. I said, you know, my wife, when we were still dating in college, she told me she wanted to be an attorney. And I remember going to the library with her one day, and she said, listen, I got to type this 20-page paper for this English class. And we're in that library, and she's typing, and I'm looking at magazines, and all of a sudden, the power goes. She's on page 17, and all her work is gone. She starts looking at the screen like, I can't believe this. Oh my gosh, she starts crying, and I want to go over and put my hand on her shoulder and say it's going to be okay, but I really don't believe that. And she starts crying, and I'm trying to think of, what do I tell her right now? Because this may keep her from going to law school. And she dries her tears, and she puts her hands together. And she didn't say anything, but I see in her eyes her saying, my dream was to be an attorney. And she pushes the power button and starts right back typing. What I tell my kids is adversity is going to come. But again, it's only there to see what are you willing to do to make the dream happen. And so I always tell them, listen, all you have to do is don't quit. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. And the last thing I teach them is to believe in themselves. I say, listen, let me tell you how much power you have. I always say, I say, listen, look around in my room. Everything you see in this classroom started in somebody's mind. I see nothing that you see, your clothes you have on, the desk you're sitting in, the board, somebody thought of that, and their mind is no better than yours. I tell them, I say, listen, you maybe never heard of this guy, but this guy named Les Brown, right? He was walking down the hallway with his friend one time, and the teacher called him and his friend into the room. And the teacher said, hey, Mr. Brown, can you do that work? And he said, oh, excuse me, wait a minute, I'm not your student. He's your student. He said, I heard you. But can you do the problem that's on the board? And the students start laughing. They say, hold on, mister. His name is DT. And he's like, what does that mean? Oh, that's the dumb student. Now, he's the dumb twin because he had a twin brother. He's the dumb twin, mister. He can't do that work. He said, listen, can you do the problem, Mr. Brown? He said, oh, no, sir, I really can't because, you know, I'm sped too. He said, listen, son, you don't have to be what people say you are. You just have to believe in you. He said it changed his whole life because he realized as long as he believed in himself, it's hard for you to stop me. He said, listen, after that, he started going after things. And if you've ever seen Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker. He's been doing his whole life. Why? Because he believes in himself. And so I tell you this, teach your kids to have a dream. Teach your kids how to overcome adversity. And teach your kids to believe in themselves. Thank you. That's my time.
Mr. Gerald Williams, everyone.